You only there's this.
I'll call the May 15th City Council meeting to order. Call the roll.
Abby Hansen,
Here.
John Hawkins,
Here.
Megan McFarland, here, Matt McKinney,
Here.
Logan Welch.
Here.
Call for motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Pledge of allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. And things, one nation, indivisible. Item 1, petitions, communications and requests. This is the time of the meeting that a citizen may address the council on a matter not on the agenda. Except in case of emergency, the city council will not take any action at this meeting, but may ask city staff to research the matter and have it placed on the agenda for future meeting. Anyone have anything for us? Okay, item 2 is minutes, claims, reports and licenses. The following items have been deemed non-controversial routine actions to be approved by the council in a single motion. If a council member or member of the audience wishes to have an item removed from this list, will be considered in its normal sequence on the agenda. I have minutes of May 1st and May 8th. Resolution on payroll for period ending May 6th and paid on May 12th. C is a resolution on bills and approved fund list. D is the city manager reports for April. E is a police department reports for April. F is a fire department report for April. And G is a traffic committee minutes for May 8th. And H is a Hamilton County Solid Waste Commission agenda packet. We also have I as recommended approval for issuance of beer and liquor licenses by the Iowa Department of Commerce for the following: Class C retail alcohol license for GWR Enterprises Limited, the links at Webster City at 405 North Des Moines Street. Class C retail alcohol license for Hy-Vee Incorporated at 823 2nd Street. Class C retail alcohol license for Casey's General Store number 1828 at 1300 2nd Street. And a 5-day special Class C retail alcohol license for Thirsty Pig from Madrid, Iowa, for a Junk Fest event to be held on May 26th and 27th at the Hamilton County Fairgrounds. And we have an amendment, additional outdoor service for Seneca Street Saloon for beer garden and street dance to be held on July 1st.
Move to approve collectively.
Second. All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Okay, item 3, general agenda. Not quite there, are we? Go to C.
C.
Resolution authorising the Community Development Director to seek bids for demolition of 5 acquired unsafe properties and authorising the city manager to sign and execute an agreement with the lowest responsible bidder in the amount not to exceed 140,000. Good evening.
Thank you for your time this evening. The city has acquired 5 unsafe properties since January of 2022. All of these properties have been deemed unsafe and are unable to be rehabilitated. City staff is seeking authorization to seek bids for demolition and authorization for the city manager to sign an agreement with the lowest responsible bidder in the amount not to exceed $140,000 to demolish all 5 properties. These properties have been viewed by city staff and by Safe Building, and 4 of the 5 locations located on 3rd Street and 1 on Broadway have been deemed unsafe and unable to be rehabilitated. So city staff is seeking to demolish these properties. The 5th location located at 714 Park Avenue has also been deemed unsafe and also unable to be rehabilitated. The 4 properties that are, the 3 that are located on 3rd Street and the 4th located on Broadway, the city is hoping to redevelop these lots. The 5th location located at 714 Park is in the floodplain and would not be able to be rehabilitated. As you can see in Exhibit A, 403 Broadway has significant water damage rotted through flooring and floor joists, as well as deteriorating foundation. The 714 Park, which is Exhibit B, has been left abandoned. It had a fire that damaged the eastern portion of the home, but since that is in the floodplain, again, that one would not be able to be redeveloped. Exhibit C is 1033 3rd Street. This location also had a fire and has significant damage, so that one would not be able to be rehabilitated because of the fire damage that took place in that home. Exhibit D is 1112 3rd Street. This property was also involved in a house fire, resulting in significant fire damage. And finally, 1417 3rd Street, which is Exhibit E, has significant water damage, mold growth, deteriorating foundation, and the mold is throughout the dwelling. All of these locations have been tested for asbestos, and that's outlined in the memo. The only house that did not test positive for asbestos was the one located at 714 Park Avenue. The other ones had minimal positive tests for asbestos, but that would also be part of the demolition process, that would be corrected prior to the demolition. So this demolition has historically been funded through the LMI funds. And we did budget $60,000 for unsafe buildings in the fiscal year of 2023. That remaining balance is in that account is $49,510 from that $60,000. We also budgeted $100,000 for the 2024 fiscal year. So our plan would be to use the $49,510 first, and then the remaining balance would come from the 2024 $100,000 that was budgeted. The LMI fund does have $536,315.30 as a balance currently. So city staff is just seeking, recommends city council adopt a resolution authorizing the community development director, myself, as well as Deidre Nerland, our public works project manager assistant, to seek bids to for the demolition of all 5 properties, and to sign and give authorization to the city manager to sign and authorize that.
Questions? Thanks, Hal.
Thank you.
Move to approve.
Second.
All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
We have public hearing to amend the fiscal year 23 budget. I'll open the hearing. Are there any written objections?
Receive no written objections.
Are there any oral objections?
No oral objections.
I'll close the hearing. Jody.
So this is just an annual procedure to, to amend the budget by, if we're not going to receive as much as we said we were in revenues, or spending more in a category for expenses. I do have quite a few on here this year, mainly just in case some of the accounts were getting close. Some of them were, we're not really sure, but it's we're not penalized, or we're not written up for doing an amendment and not needing it, but we are the other way around. So I don't know if anyone has any specific questions on any of the amendments.
I think so. Like you say, we every year. Resolution adopting the budget amendment for fiscal year ending June 30th, 23.
Move to approve.
Second.
All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
B is this hearing will be tabled until June 5th. That's item B on the list for 6:05 p.m. It's a public hearing on proposed plan specifications, proposed formal contract and estimate of costs for construction of the 2023 Wilson Brook Courthouse Structural Improvement Project.
We don't need a motion. We'll
Okay.
just move it to.
Right. D, the resolution authorizing the mayor to execute and sign an agreement from Beaster and Kim Incorporated for interim plan review and residential, commercial and industrial projects within the city limits.
So the city is seeking authorization for the mayor to execute and sign an agreement with Webster and Kim Incorporated for plan review for residential, commercial, and industrial projects within the city limits. V&K offers engineering and consulting services and would also act as a mentor tutor to the city's building inspector in the interim. Our building inspector was hired in March 2023, and while he works towards the certifications and also focuses on a lot of these unsafe structures, we're looking to have V&K help us interim on an as needed basis for the plan review services for residential, commercial, and industrial projects. This would be, again, a temporary service and only on an as needed basis. And this agreement could be canceled at any time with a 14-day written notice. The rate for this is $101 an hour plus 65 cents per mile for them to travel here. The plan review would likely be done virtually where they wouldn't be traveling here unless an inspection was needed, which they would also help with that on an as needed basis. This would be absorbed by the inspection department. And we do require engineered plans, and recently all commercial projects as well as new build construction for residential has required plans. Anything that is a non-conventional build would be what would require a plan review and trigger that. So staff is just recommending city council to authorize the mayor to execute and sign an agreement with V&K for plan review services for residential, commercial, and industrial projects in the interim.
Question? Thanks, Sharon.
Thank you.
I move to approve.
Second.
All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Item E is a resolution authorising the line department supervisor to purchase 2 traffic signal sensors, replacements for traffic and transportation from traffic and transportation products limited in the amount not to exceed 40,000. They're not cheap, those sensors, are they?
Good evening. So, line department seeking your permission, to go through traffic and transportation product limited out of, Illinois. Just a little background, it's for Ohio and Superior and Bank and Superior traffic signals. The signals themselves will stay there. It's just the cameras that go 360 will monitor traffic and adjust traffic flow as need be. It's been an ongoing thing. We've been messing around with them for several years, and it seems like the last 6 to 8 months that we're having more and more issues with them. It's basically old technology here. It's dating back to, I believe, 1991. So we're asking for permission to go out and purchase these 2 cameras in the amount of $37,700.
Thanks, Adam.
Abby thanks you on her way to work.
I was not thinking.
Move to approve.
All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Item F is resolution accepting the 2021 HMA street improvement project and authorising final payment to Heartland Asphalt Incorporated.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. This is the closeout of the 2021 HMA project, which was the Betsy Lane Road rehabilitation, as well as the new water main, Seneca Street, and then the 2 parking lots, Freeman Journal and the City Hall parking lot. There is a change order included with this approval tonight. There's a quantity adjustment that reduces the price by $5,248. So that new contract price would be $8,876,954.45. This is being paid for out of lost and geo bonds. So we're just asking for approval to close out this project and issue final payment.
Move to approve.
Second.
All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
G is resolution authorising the mayor to sign and execute an agreement number 20A with Snyder and Associates Incorporated for sanitary sewer rehabilitation. And it,
Council, we are seeking authorization to work with Snyder and Associates for professional services for the sanitary sewer rehabilitation project. HydroClean is our contractor we are using this year, and through cleaning and televising, we can inspect and determine the condition of our mainline sewer. And at that point, we can see if there's any offsets, voids, cracking pipe or crumbling pipe, or sags, which can cause backups. So at that point, we can prioritize the condition of the pipe and make repairs. Our first and foremost type of repair would be the slip lining. That's the non-dig. So you're not going to shut down a street. You're not going to have to pay for concrete or asphalt, stuff like that's a lot cheaper. So as you can see, we'll be doing some slip lining. However, there are also some repairs that will require to dig and repair digging the street. So some of them are just, it just has to happen. And also there's a couple manholes in there that we're gonna, that's one thing that we haven't been doing, but it's something we need to get started on. And I'm glad we're doing it, is our manholes with I&I. So that's a big thing that we haven't even started. So excited to get that started. But yeah, Snyder Associates will provide preliminary and final design plans, plan preparation, contract documents, and bid assistance, stuff like that, just like they have in the past. So kind of a yearly program that we have going.
Thanks, Brandon.
Yep.
Call for motion.
Move to approve.
Second.
All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Item H is a resolution authorising the mayor to sign task order number 5, number 6, and number 7 with DGR Engineering Incorporated for professional engineering services.
Good evening again. The item before you is a follow-up to the DGR Engineering electric system study and rate analysis that was reviewed with you back in March. So basically, we're looking to get started on some of the capital projects, the preliminary engineering involved with those. Task order number 5 is related to the 69 kV transmission improvements, but that's only specific to 0.37 miles of that. That's a full service contract to relocate that portion of the line in order to get that new wastewater treatment plant constructed and graded. That total is $93,200 for task order number 5. That includes preliminary engineering, design, construction, administration, and bidding. Task order number 6 is associated with the preliminary design only for the construction of some of the underground feeders, overhead on Sweezy substation feeder, and then additional switches, capacitors, voltage regulators. That one is $25,000, but that's only preliminary engineering, so there would be amendments that come with these. And task order number 7 is for the electric system coordination study. So what they do is they review all of the protective equipment, make sure it's all working properly, communicating properly. And once they're done with that, they'll issue the report. We can review that with council at that time. And that is $19,700. So all 3 task orders combined are $137,900. That would be absorbed by the electric fund. And these are part of the fiscal year 24 budget. So we're just asking for permission to enter into those agreements.
Move to approve.
Second.
All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Item I is first reading of an ordinance amending the code of ordinances of City of Webster City 2019 by amending chapter 46 pertaining to traffic control devices.
Yep. So I'm just going to introduce Derek Drew. He's our new right-of-way inspector. He's been the one that's been out in the field inspecting and getting a lot of the complaints, but he's going to go ahead and present the next 2 items for you. So I wanted to introduce Derek.
Good evening.
Hang on, stop there. You've seen enough stop signs?
Yeah.
Okay.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council members. My name is Derek Drew. I'm the right-of-way inspector and traffic committee secretary for the City of Webster City. It was brought to the city's attention that in order for a stop sign infraction to be enforced and upheld in the court system, a stop sign must be included in city ordinances. At this time, section 4649 to section 4653 were updated. It was determined that 143 existing stop signs were not included in the ordinances and needed added. There were 3 locations that were a good candidate for new stop signs that were being recommended. They're as follows: Fourth Street, vehicles traveling east on Fourth Street shall stop at White Box Road. And the reason for that one is White Box is a through street, meaning vehicles traveling on White Box are not required to stop. So every other road going on the White Box is required to stop. And then the next one is Walnut Street. Vehicles traveling west on Walnut Street shall stop at Lynx Avenue. Every other road on Lynx Avenue stops, so Lynx Avenue would be a through street, so that one meets the criteria. And then the last one would be a four-way stop at Floss and Millard Lane. This is in preparation for the anticipated heavy traffic at the projected location of the new wastewater treatment plant. And so that'd be, the wastewater treatment plant would be straight off of Floss Drive. As part of the inventory findings, staff is also recommending the removal of the stop sign on Aldridge Drive. Vehicle traveling south on Aldridge Drive between Highway 20 and Cloth Drive shall stop at Cloth Drive. This is due to a low volume of traffic at that location currently. The ordinance was presented to the traffic committee on May 8th of 23. They reviewed the request and recommend the city council to proceed with necessary steps to adopt the ordinance modifications being proposed. Thank you.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.
And one question on that last one that's being removed is not, I mean, not necessarily for you, just in discussions. You know, if there is any future development out there that may be probably all redone anyway, in some form of fashion. Because when I was reading that, I'm like, well, what if, you know, a dealership came in out there or something like that, or what if that, but that'd probably be developed where that intersection may not even look the same, you know, so yes.
Right.
Am I speaking out of turn? Because that's just what I thought in my head. I just don't know if that's.
Yeah, I know at one point Carl Chevrolet was wanting to develop out in that area, and I think they also purchased the ground to the
More there, yeah.
to the north and the west of Aldridge Drive, and I couldn't remember if at one point this was going to be a driveway or just asking to vacate Aldridge Drive. So yeah, when development occurs to that, then that intersection will be revisited to determine what the traffic pattern would be.
And Aldridge Drive is an easement road, so when they bought both sides, they bought the road essentially.
Sure.
So yeah, once it's put back in, or once something happens out there, we
Well,
amend it
recess it, yeah.
and add it back in.
That's good. Good job, Derek.
Way to go.
Good.
Was a lot of years in the making, wasn't it? Okay. Motion.
Move to approve.
Motions, yes.
Second.
All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Okay, item J, resolution establishing an additional persons with disabilities parking area in the central business district. Derek, good evening.
I bring before you the first reading of the request to adopt a resolution establishing an additional persons with disability parking area in the central business district. City staff took a request for an additional ADA parking spot from Leon's Pizza located at 641 2nd Street. To determine the most suitable location for an ADA compliant parking spot, city staff monitored the use of parking stalls along the 600 block of 2nd Street with a time-lapse camera. Exploring possible locations for said parking spot, it was determined that the most suitable location is on the east side of Des Moines Street, directly north of 2nd Street, the first parking stall. There is an existing ADA compliant space directly to the west side on that location on Des Moines Street. This location was chosen due to the requirements that would be needed to put one on 2nd Street.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Move to approve.
Second.
All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Item K is resolution authorizing the mayor to sign and execute a wastewater services agreement, Mertz Engineering Incorporated.
Good evening again. So this item before you is just part of the initiative that staff has been working on with Allers and Cooney and our city attorney to develop a wastewater services agreement. The goal is to make a agreement that is more uniform for all of the users. as we're moving towards the new construction of the wastewater plant. And we have seen this recurring note from the DNR and our sanitary surveys that says that we need to continue to enforce the treatment agreements with our significant industrial users. Currently, there's no language that allows us to navigate any of the issues that might arise with like monitoring, sampling, charges, and all of that. So these agreements will allow for that. Mertz Engineering is the first significant industrial user who's going to sign the agreement. The only thing I wanted to note is that it was brought to our attention that the Code of Federal Regulations limit for cyanide is 0.65 milligram per liter. And their DNR treatment agreement currently has this limit at 0.15 milligram per liter. So we are working with DNR to identify if we can just go with the Code of Federal Regulation. And if they are okay with that, that's what we would proceed with. So that would be the only modification on the agreement if it is approved tonight. And then the other modification is the 2-year term would start the date that it's signed instead of today.
Thank you. Call for motion.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favour say aye. Item L is request from Seneca Street Saloon to close the section on Seneca Street 900 block from the south side of the alley south to Bank Street from noon on July 1st to 2 a.m. on July 2nd for a beer garden and live music event.
You notice we changed the time.
I was just gonna say that. It said
My
5.
memo and their request is noon, but when we transferred it over to the agenda, it was incorrect and said 5, so
It's noon.
noon.
Okay.
Yeah, I have no issue. I moved to approve.
Second.
All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Item M is resolution authorising the Public Works Management Assistant to seek proposals for the delivery of bulk fuel and authorising the city manager to enter into agreement with the lowest responsible bidder. Nee.
Good evening. Back when I was finance assistant, when I started, it was each time the street department needed fuel, we'd call out and get the cheapest bid that day. Well, after so many times of whether it be a Friday at 4 to try and get a good price. Anyway, looked into deeper areas. Excuse me. Reached out to Hamilton County Secondary Roads. What do? Got with them. They sent me a bid template. Of course, they have many avenues to deliver. We just have the one. So I decided to go ahead and do the Iowa Department of Transportation, their average fuel rack price that day. Sent that out. At the time, Doolittle did not respond. Was too unsure of how this would look. Co-op went off in. They supplied their own fuel monitors. And the best part of all that is our people are already taken care of. We haven't had any pumps gel up or anything during the winter with them. Also, I don't know if you looked at just some of the comparisons I put down, but we do save a substantial amount of money by doing it that way, plus their bid margin. So the United Co-op has been doing it since November 1 of 2019. I'm looking to kind of send that back out to both of our bulk providers here in town and lock in, authorize the city manager to enter an agreement with the lowest bid margin.
Thanks, Steve.
Thanks.
Call for motion.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favour say aye. Item N is resolution charging off from active accounts receivable, delinquent final utility bills and department charges.
Good evening again. So the write-offs is just an annual step to remove those accounts on our AR that we're unlikely to collect on. And we determine if somebody hasn't paid on a bill for 6 months, it's likely that we're not going to. We can still collect, but it's just off the books. So it gives us a better financial picture of, that we're not expecting to receive that money. So, the two avenues that we have that the people do come back and pay is, when they want utilities in their name again, they have to pay on what they left us with. If it's really large, we will work with them and do like a 50% with a payment agreement for the remainder. And then the Iowa offset program, which we've collected $162,617 since 2014. And that is state, if someone's gonna get a income tax return, if they go to the casino and get a jackpot.
It's been significant.
Yeah. So. And this year, actually, the amount is down. I think last year utility was about 44,000. So that's good.
Yeah. Okay, thanks, Jody.
Move to approve.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Item O is first reading of an ordinance amending the code of ordinances of City of Webster City, Iowa, 2019 by adding sections 46-415 through 46-420 pertaining to automatic traffic enforcement to chapter 46, article 9.
Yep.
I was supposed to add that up.
Thought I'd help you.
Yeah. Division 2. Okay.
So this is the first reading of the ordinance. You guys adopted or approved the services agreement with Census Gatso last month for them to work with us on and deploying two systems or at two locations, I would say. Council at that point decided to focus on Highway 20 as well as Highway 17 or Briggs Woods Road. We sent the information back to Census Gatso and they narrowed more specifically to the locations. The Briggs Woods Road would be down by Miller's Drive, just north of the Boone River. And the Highway 20 would be just to the west of the interchange, pretty much where Edgewood Drive would intersect with Highway 20, just in that location. Those are just locations where existing electric utilities, makes it simpler for them to be able to run power to the locations. And so the next steps is to include and update the ordinance to include the language that would be necessary for enforcement and deployment of these systems. So today is just a first reading of that ordinance. The language mirrors in many cases the language that has been adopted by other communities. We focus largely on Cedar Rapids, which prevailed in the state Supreme Court, as well as the city of Fort Dodge and what they have operated here recently. So if there's any questions that myself or Chief Moore can answer.
Okay. Call for motion.
So moved.
Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, call for a motion to adjourn.
Real quick too, just because a lot of department heads are here, I just want to thank everybody for their input and candor and feedback on the goal setting. You guys put a lot of work in and I really appreciate it. And the input and feedback will definitely resonate. So I appreciate it.
Thank you. Call for motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you, everybody.
What's that?
They figured it.
We just, I mean, I don't know. So I just like, what's your style? Buy one.
Getting wore out. You
You want to?
ready for the zoo at T-Hawk next beginning of Wednesday?
Baby girl.
I'm gonna call it. Thanks.
Okay.
Hey, park
all the way across.
Perfect.
You're kidding.
Yeah, let me know.